For today's general reading, I decided to try and look at a problem. So we've got this in a bit of a different order than you might expect. We've got first the problem, then we have where we want to end up, followed by a plan to get there. And this plan actually has some details that we want to look at a little more closely. So first of all, we have the problem, the issue, the four of pentagrams or pentacles, which on the one hand doesn't seem like a big problem. It seems like a very steady, stable foundation surrounded by a lot of growth. We notice on the shield here a bird, which I like to think of as a phoenix, one very interested in and significant toward transformation. So maybe this signifies the problem that arises when we get too comfortable, too rooted in our immobility, in our stagnation. Now, stagnation and immobility don't mean we don't do anything. And in this case, that means with our environment, trying to change and better things. It just means we have stopped advancing. Big difference. We may find ourselves very active in this phase, but do we find ourselves developing further, or have we gotten to a by rote situation? Where we want to end up gives us a clue. We want to become more able-bodied in our magic, in our transformative capabilities and applications, right? We don't have ourselves there yet. We look to this as something we want to attain. And I find it interesting, if we picture ourselves as this card and we picture ourselves as the magician, he looks backward a little bit longingly, doesn't he? Maybe like your future self wants to send you a message, wants to get you on track. Have you had any gut feelings lately? Have you had any intuitions? Maybe you want to pay attention to those, particularly if they involve your present situation that you want to move forward from. Maybe you've been trying to communicate with you. Not as far-fetched an idea as it sounds like. Now, other than that, we can look to the Justice card as one to help figure out how to go from here to here. And we notice that she holds a couple of things in her hands, right? We have the scales. We may need to weigh some things that we use our time for. We may need to weigh relationships, interactions, hobbies, pastimes, our general use of time. And if we find that some of them throw us into imbalance, we may need to use the sword in order to cut those things out, or at least prune them back to a more manageable size and weight. That can hurt. That can get uncomfortable, especially if it involves, other people who may have their feelings affected by our decisions. But we can use our wisdom, which Justice certainly has on her side, to help figure out how to present those things and how to carry out those necessary actions. Now, on some of the restored Jodorowsky Tarot de Marseille cards, not all, particularly in the major arcana, we'll see these little vertical lines. And Jodorowsky, in his book, Way of Tarot, suggests that when we add those lines up and we figure out how many of them we've got there, and on Justice we've got 20, those refer specifically to other cards in the major arcana. In this case, Justice. Judgment. By extension, then, we already realize that we may need to do some house cleaning. But this gives us some ideas as well as to the extent, perhaps, that we'll need to do this. This will involve some change. Probably permanent transformation in one way or another. We will have to, in this process, to get to where we want to go, fundamentally change the self and recreate the self. We would do well not only to figure out how we can go from here to here, but also keep firmly in mind why we want to make that change. Decide why you want to go from that first position to the other. What does that put you in line to do? You may find it helpful to look beyond just that goal. Do you want this in a year? What do you want in 5 years? And what will attaining this objective do to help you get there? How about in a year? 2 years? 10 years? This will help to solidify and crystallize the importance of your need to change, and will help to convince you of its worthwhileness when you look at the large transformations that lie ahead, if indeed you do proceed. So evaluate that situation, keep those points in mind, and hopefully you'll begin to move in the right direction. As always, folks, please leave some comments, leave some thoughts, suggestions. Have some goals in mind, but let the process of analysis also shift those goals and adjust them as necessary. If you have something in stone, you may miss some wonderful opportunities along the way. So don't forget that. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave, again, any suggestions or comments and questions. And as always, please subscribe. That'll give you notifications when updates get made. And because the Facebook and Instagram get updated more frequently than the YouTube channel, make sure to follow me on those. You'll get updates daily throughout the day with tarot and other transformative subjects. Until next time, folks, have a great day, stay safe, and keep transforming.